This is the Patterson Gilman film, the most famous Bigfoot footage there is that still exists, and it begins to be a legend from these days. And let's take a look at this famous Patterson Gilman footage. And I believe that they found something strange in the woods, and that is my opinion on it. I'm sure you guys have yours, and stake you and believe what you want to believe what they found. But I decided to lay off a Hieronymus' story and follow that they captured something strange. That's at least my opinion on this video. And the first thing I noticed was the gate. The first time I saw this film, I thought it was fake. But as I watched it over and over again, I've thought it was real. And that's kind of always been my opinion, except for the second time I watched it. And if you look carefully at the gate, it moves in a very unhuman-like way, and I don't think it can be a human. Look at that. It's the gate in the line, in this arm swing. It looks very big, and you can see in the film it's obviously very tall, and even if the creature's not the tallest as it could be, you can see how wide and thick it is. And if you look at that picture carefully, you can see how big the arms are and how that line is for a human. This is a very difficult hoax to set up, especially in 1967. It's my opinion. And I at least think that it is real. And I tend to think it is hard to get a costume back. As you can imagine, if you lived back then in those days, in 1967, I just think this is a very hard hoax to set up. Not just that, but how good the costume looks. The claws, the toes, the feet. It looks very unhuman. It looks very natural to the creature. And the one thing that always concerns me is, why does it look at the camera? Did it just hear them? The horses did go crazy. But that's what we need to... So as you can see, it probably hears the horses go crazy. It peeks over, sees Patterson and Gilman. Then it kind of just gradually, it just walks away into the woods. And yeah, it looks very good. And it looks like it'd be a very hard hoax, especially back in 1967. And you gotta think if you're a believer in this film. Because first of all, Hieronymus admitted it in 2005 that it was him in a costume. But I don't believe it actually was. I think he's looking to be famous and making up a story to try to be famous. But I don't know what you guys think. But also, there's been no costume to be found, no receipt, there hasn't been much evidence of much, anyhow, that this could be Hieronymus. But one thing you could say about the film is it a hoax or is it real? I don't know, folks. I think it's real, or at least that's my opinion. But one thing you can see in the footage is it moves. And if you look at that frame, right there, it just doesn't look quite right. And not just that, but look how the creature is pretty tall, and you can see how wide the creature is. And in the footage, you can clearly see, and if you can look there, it definitely looks pretty good. And not just that, but the other thing I noticed on the film is just the way the creature moves, its body, and especially you can see right there how the foot kind of peeks off the ground strange, and then you can kind of see when it glances. This is a very hard hoax. You gotta think. This is hard these days because there's a bunch of Bigfoot sightings, and I think this is the only one that is real. I think you can kind of see in most sightings, sometimes stuff looks artificial and stuff like that. But this film does not look like artificial anything. This was 1967. These days, this year is 2026, and most Bigfoot sightings still kind of look fake. This film doesn't look fake one bit, and this was 1967. So, and also, if you think about it, yeah, it's very neat, and Yeah, it is a neat footage, and I 100%, you can see how big, and if you look at it, it's especially getting like mask for the face back in those days. I think this is very tough. Getting in, it's just, well, there's also another reason why I'll put them together, but the one thing is, why does it stare at Patterson and Gimlin? But you can see when it stares at them how unhuman that looks. I mean, just look at that closely. Look at it. Look at that line there. I mean, look at it. Look how big it is. And also, as the creature walks away, it just looks, and it's Bluff Creek's known for being very remote. I think it's a Bigfoot, and I think this is neat. And this film was 1967, so this Bigfoot is definitely not real anymore. It could have had babies, so please go to Bluff Creek and try to find another one. But you can't say for sure this is a real Bigfoot, and I'll say that. This could be a guy in a suit, but if it was, I would give him all of the stars in the world for how he does those moves. And I don't think it was him in a suit, but it could have been. And it could have been a different guy too, maybe not even Hieronymus. Maybe he just claimed that. Maybe a different guy's keeping it a secret that it was him. But I don't think it's anybody in a suit. I think it's a Bigfoot. And if you look carefully at the way the creature moves its legs, we also find it does in a strange way, because the creature lifts its leg off the ground, and you can see the footprints. And after this footage was made, you could see how footprints there were, and because they were down there for almost weeks, and they were just getting footprints, and you can see how big it is. And like, not just that, but the creature, you can also see it clearly as breast. And the creature definitely, you can see how heavy it is. It impacts with the ground. And you can also see how big and tall it is. And another thing I like to say, for great evidence of this photo being real, is it's hard to tell there's even a neck there or anything. You can also kind of clearly see the head's it's a natural slope. And not just that, but when it turns to glance at the camera, it looks like it's almost not possible for it to be a human. But mostly, for the believers on this film, it's just the gait that seems very unhuman. And for the skeptics, they don't really have a good reason to say why this couldn't be a Bigfoot, but they just don't believe in Bigfoot, so they're going to say it's fake. But I honestly don't know, but I think it's a Bigfoot. And don't forget to subscribe, because a lot of you are watching but haven't subscribed yet, so it'd be helpful if you could please subscribe. We have more Bigfoot stuff on this channel, and yeah, please go. We have some shocking sightings too. Thanks for watching.